This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so first of all, I want to tell about SQL data types. So, what is SQL data types? So, we can think about the data types like character, integer, varchar, string, and all. Okay, so we need to give SQL data type when we are creating a table. So, we need to tell to the SQL that this column is an integer, this column is a variable character. So if we are telling to the SQL that this is that particular data type, then it will allocate some special space. Like if it is a character, it will allocate to 0 to 255 character length. If it is a varchar, then it will allocate around 65,535. So it's like that. So I'll just mention some important ones here. Why data? So data types you understood, right? What are data types? Like integer, anything. Like suppose we have a date column. Okay, date can integer, because integer, it's just a number. Even date is a number, but date will be having some format, right? So in order to tell to SQL this is date column, this is not the normal integer column. And also if you want to suppose if you are defining the integer column, okay, but you want to add some characters over there, like it's a combination of numbers and it's a combination of letters, I mean characters, then at that time you cannot define that particular data type as a number. You have to define that particular data type as a character or var character, so that it will allow both numbers and the characters both. So SQL data types. So each column in a database is required to have a name and a data type. So while creating a table, we must specify so some of them I'll tell. The character, it's like if you want to give fixed length, so max size is 8,000 characters. So here we'll be mentioning some characters, okay? Char of n. So this n means like we are mentioning n means how many characters it should hold. So we can say this is a fixed weight, and another one we have like varchar, variable length. Okay, so we will be, these are both, but this one is like we need to follow the fixed width. Where like we can give some variable width over here. Okay, so in the same way we have so many like text, varchar, max, nchar, and varchar, binary. Binary means it will only hold either 1 or 0. That means single letters. Image also we can give. Can give like integer, tiny int, big int. So many we have. In the same way, we can give like date, date time, timestamp. Timestamp means it will take the our system time. Okay, like suppose today is 11th November 14, 2021, and the current time is when it is loading, it's something like 8:40. So it will take the whole data from the system. So it will say like timestamp means 14th November 2021, 8:41 a.m. like that. And we have so many, but that's not needed. So you should know like while creating a table, you should understand each column will be having some data types, and we need to give the exact data type as per our requirement. I'll tell about SQL case statement. So why we will use this case statement? So for each column, suppose we have some conditions. Suppose if we have like a number column or a date column or anything, then what we will do, we will be having some range of values, right? So I will say like if this particular condition is true, then return this value. If this particular condition is true, then return that value. So I will be telling to the system like, please return this value when this condition is true. So I'll be creating the table, and then I'll be coming to case statement and annual. So first, we'll be going through the databases, creating a database, dropping a database, and all. Give me 2 minutes, I'll be back.
This conference will now be recorded.
Let's see how we'll create a database. So before that, Okay, here we have some databases, right? A master, model, MSDB, TempDB, test. So we'll create a new database over here. Create database class D. See, I have executed this, and let's see whether this database is created or not. I'm just refreshing. Expand it so you can see here SQL class DB. Even here also it should come. See SQL class DB. Okay. So I have created this database. If you want to delete this database, we can delete it. Drop. So drop command is used to delete it. So we need to give the database name over here. Let's see whether it will get deleted or not. So as they're saying like it is currently in use, we cannot delete it. What I will do, I will just transfer this to some other database. Now this command is executed. Now let's see whether it's available. It's not available over here, and here also it should after refreshing it should be removed. See, it's not present. So in this way you can create a database and you can also delete a database wherever you want. In practically we will be not creating a database mostly. Admin team will be there, they will be creating it upon our requirement. Most of the people will not have access to create it, but just this is a small command, you can use it. So the dropping is very important and you should not do it frequently. If it is very much required only you have to do it. So I want to back up some database data to some file path. Okay, let's see whether we can do that. So my tables data is there in this master database. So I want to back up this data to some file path. So I'm giving this data. Master. See here, earlier I don't have anything in this particular master backups folder. Now I got some .bak extension file. So what I have given over here is I've given the F colon backups, and here I haven't created this, but we need to give some name over here and the extension in order to create that folder. So these many are created in mine. Processed 464 pages for database master, file master on file, and processed 2 pages for database master. So whatever data is available here, you can open it and see. So whatever data is there in the master table, it will be available in this particular backup data. So now we will learn about create table statement. So as the name mentions here, create table is nothing but like with this statement we can create a new table in a database, and syntax goes in this way: create table, and we need to give the table name, and we need to mention which column and the data type for it. That's all. So this column numbers are the parameters, like we can give the names like order id, order name, anything, and the data types for it, like if it is a date time, if it is a integer, if it is a varchar, we need to give that. So now I want to create a table with order details, name, and order details name. So we'll see what we want in order details table. So first I want to add order detail ID, and this one, first I'll give the column names: order ID, product ID, quantity. In the similar way, I create products table as well. Product ID, product name, supplier ID, category ID, units, and the price of products. We can, so this order detail ID, order ID, we can define as an integer. Why? Because it's a numbers. all our numbers over here. So I'm defining everything as an int. Now product ID and product name. Product name we can have a varchar and we will define the maximum length as 255 and supplier ID again I can give as an int. Category is also int. Unit I'll be defining as varchar of 255. Price again I'll define as an int. So let's see, we'll execute this and we'll see whether our table got created or not. So command completed successfully and this one also we'll see. Command completed. So I have created order details table and the products table. Let's see over here whether it's created or not. I'll refresh it. See here, order details and products are created. You can even query it and you can even get the details. Okay. So here if you see product ID, product name, supplier ID, everything, whatever columns you have given over here, we have got the data, and for the orders also you have got order detail ID, order ID, product ID and quantity. We have defined the table now. We can have the data by using the insert into command and by the same way we can also delete the table and we can by using the drop table command. SQL drop table statement. So like we have drop database, we have drop table command wherein by using this drop table we can delete that table from the database. Okay, so I have to use in this way drop table. Drop table and the table name. I don't want to delete this. Okay, we'll delete this and we can execute. I'll delete this products table. Okay, drop table products. I'm executing it, so it's got completed. Let's see products table is available or not now. See invalid object name products. So it's as it's deleted, it cannot identify the name products. Now again, I'll just execute this create table products. Now it will be available. So in this way, by using drop table, you can delete those tables. Okay. So there is one more thing called truncate table. Truncate table means what it will does, it will delete the data whichever we have in the table, but not the table. Okay, I can show you one example. Okay. So first I'll insert some data over here in the products table. Let's see. So insert into products. So I'll mention columns data and I'll mention the values. So first my column is product ID and then my product name and then supplier ID and then category ID and then unit and price. So values I have to enter. So I'm entering the product name. So then I have to give the supplier ID. I will give again 1 and category ID is also 1. Units is like per box how many we have, per container how many we have, like that we can give. So 80 boxes. Price can be 40. One row got affected. Let's see whether it got inserted or not. See, one soap, 180 boxes, 40. It got inserted. Now I want to truncate the table, okay? So I'll give truncate and table name. Table name is products. So what it will do, it will delete the data from the products table, okay? It got completed. Let's query it. See, data is not available. Okay, in this way you can do some alterations to your table. So now what I want to do is, like, I have some table and I want to alter the table. So I want to add some data, column name and all. Then we can, if you want to add a column name to any existing table, or if you want to delete a column to the any existing table, yes, you can do it. So for this products only, I'll add and I'll also delete it. Let's see. So we have a command called alter table. So alter table, we will be giving the table name products, add email ID. So I want to add, I have already created a table. I want to add a email ID column to this particular table. So I'm adding the email ID by using this command. It's completed. Let's see. See, email ID is added over here. So if you want to add here, if you want to add or delete the column in an existing table, we can use alter statement. So in the same way, I want to drop it off. So when you are dropping off, you need not to mention the data type. You need to mention drop column email ID. So it got executed. Let's see that column is deleted or not. Select star from products. See, that particular column got deleted. In this way, you can alter the date, alter the columns in that particular table. So if you want to, sometimes if you want to change the data types, then you can also do it. Suppose, okay, you can also change the data types also. I'll just use this varchar only 255. Okay, and I'll be selecting this particular data. So varchar, what it does, varchar, it will just allow us to create a particular data which is having characters, that means strings. Strings can be numbers or any characters. But now I wanted to give some something like in the year format. Let's see whether it will take or not. From insert statement, I'll add email and I'll put something this way 2021.08.20. See, it is saying like okay, email ID. It got affected. Okay. So I have this email ID column which is given as something like uh, uh, which is uh, which is defined as varchar, and we can give either this or we can give anything within the numbers or the data. But now I wanted to give only numbers and it should not allow any characters. So now I'll try to insert something like this: data test with numbers 0 to 1. So by this you can understand it will allow numbers as well as characters when you are giving the varchar. See, it got affected. Let's see that data is available. See, this data is available. Now I want to alter this particular column type email ID to something like integer. Okay, we'll see whether we can alter it. Alter table products drop column. Sorry. We'll use add the column email ID. I want to change to int. Okay. So now it should only. Okay, why it's not allowing, you can see, because this particular data, in this particular table, we have a data called 2021.08.20. That means these dots are not allowed in int. That's why it is saying we cannot change the column to integer. What we will do, let's truncate this table so that my data is deleted. Now I think I can change. See, it got changed. So I have changed the email ID type to integer. So now what you can do? I wanted to execute this particular statement. I want to see whether it is allowing me with characters and numbers. See what it is saying, conversion failed when converting the varchar value. This will comes under varchar value, but we have given email ID as integer. So it will not allow. This will also not allow. See here. It is saying this particular value is also kind of varchar value. You cannot change it to int. So in order to accept it, you need to give in the integer format only. Now it will accept. It's an integer format, right? See, it got affected and you can see the data over here. Understood this data types and how you can alter the columns and the tables with the using add, drop, alter column commands. So I'll just remove this email ID column which is not needed over here. So, and also we have something called constraints. Constraints topic in SQL database and server. So, in any particular application which will be used by, like which will use SQL to query that particular database or the server, we have a constraints topic. I'll tell what are constraints and all. So when creating a table, right, or when altering a table, we can give something like constraints to the SQL. Constraints are nothing but like not null operator, unique operator, primary key, foreign key, check, default, create index and all comes under this particular constraints topic. It's simply like it will specify the rules for the data in a table. So it can be defined in column level or table level. So table level means like whole table it will be applying, and column means only particular specific column, mentioned column. So mostly we will be using, there are so many constraints, but mostly we'll be using these constraints in the table, like not null ensures that a column cannot have a null value. So if we are defining any column as not null, it will ensure that particular column does not have any null value. So we will see that. So we have already created a table, right? So when we have already created a table, we can use the alter table command, and we can do it, or while creating a table also we can give it. So suppose we will see two examples over here. Create table, not null, and constraint alter table. So first we will see create table, same like how we create a table earlier. Okay, employee employee ID. So I want to define employee ID as an integer. That until then it's same. Okay. As an integer, and now I want to say to the system that this particular column, it should be not null. And employee name, I'll be defining as varchar of 255, and if you want to mention this particular column is also not null, you can mention. So I'm not mentioning over here for the employee name. Let's see what happens. And for the salary also, see, salary cannot be an empty value or a null in real time, right? So I want to mention salary as integer and not null. Okay, I want only, okay, I can have one more column called department ID, and I'll be mentioning this particular one also, not null. So when you are mentioning not null means this particular columns in that particular table should not be created with any null values, Okay, it won't be created, and if you are trying to do that also, it will not accept it. Let's see. I am creating this table. So it got created. Let's select start from employee. 4 columns are created, and out of which employee name particular column will allow null values and others will not allow null values. We'll try to insert any particular data over here, and let's see. Employee ID, employee name, department ID, salary. Okay, I want to give employee ID as 108 something, and I don't want to give any other values. Let's see whether it accepts or not. Okay. if you see over here, it is saying that invalid, sorry, it is products table. I need to skip into employee table. Let's see. There are more columns in the insert statement than values specified in the values clause. The number of values in the values clause must match the number of columns specified in the insert statement. Now what I will do, I will specify this not null values, but I'll not specify this employee name. We'll see. Just I'll give this. Okay. And department ID I'll give as 1 and salary will be like 10,000. See this, whether it gets executed or not. See, one row got affected. Now I will try in another way. All I'll be giving some empty values. Even this also executed. But what is the specification of not null for me? Let's go and retrieve the data from employee table. See, wherever you gave this particular data, I mean empty values, it's taking as an empty value for the null character. So here for the employee name, we haven't defined anything, and for the other three columns, we have defined those are not null values. That means it will not accept any empty row or empty column. That means it is assigning 0. It is assigning 0 for all the not null value columns, and for the employee name, as we have not defined as not null, as we haven't defined that as not null, it is taking as empty. But when you haven't given this particular data over here, then it should accept as null, right? If you remember, if you are not, if you insert the data in this way, see, I want to only insert the employee name because because it's not a not null value. Let's see whether it will accept or not. Employee name is SQL 10. We'll see whether it's accept or not. Earlier we have seen it was accepting if you give even one column also. If you are inserting even one column also. We'll see now it is accepting or not. See, it's not accepting because it does not allow nulls. That means we are saying this employee ID, department ID, salary are not null. That means we should never insert any data without these three columns. Now I will try to insert all the values without employee name. It will accept. Why? Because employee name I haven't given as not null, so that's not a mandatory column. So employee ID I'll give as 2 and department ID I'll give as 2 and now salary I'll give as 20,000. See, I'm not giving employee name over here. Let's see. It got affected, right? That is the difference between the null column and not null column. When you are defining a column as not null, then that particular data, it should not allow any null values or empty values. Null values, if you give, it will not allow you to execute itself, and if you are giving the empty values, it will execute and update as 0 in the place of an empty value. Understood? Now I'll try to alter the data of employee name by using the alter command, and we'll see whether that particular command is now accepted or not. So I want to alter table employee and I want to modify this particular employee name to it's already a varchar, and I want to give as not null. Alter table employee. Mhm. Let's see. Already done. 1 second, we'll see. No. Actually, this particular value should work like modify. Not sure why it's not accepting. See, while defining, we haven't defined as not null. This is the command we have to use actually to change a particular column to not null. I'm not sure why it's not updating. We can use either modify or alter column over here. But yes, we will do something like that. Okay, but this is the correct one. We have to use this. I'm not sure is this a problem with mine or anything, but in practical, we'll be using this particular command only in order to alter that particular column to not null. I think you have understood the concept, right? This employee name I haven't defined as not null, but still it is taking the whole employee table as not null, but that is not correct. But the concept is like if you are defining any particular column as not null, then that particular column will not allow the null values. It will give an error. Okay.
Madam, why 255, madam? Is it adjustable or is a wish only?
See,
Where can
255, 0 to 255, we will be using it mostly. So 255 is the maximum, mostly we'll be using in any of the real-time columns when we have created, okay? So while telling the database data types, I have said, right? So when you are creating this particular character or varchar, you can give any number of characters you want, but you do not need that many characters. And also, see, in real time there will be millions of data, right? So if you have a name of 250 name of character length of 100 or more than 255, what it will happen is like your database storage will be it should have lots many storage because of your character length only. It will decide your storage value also. So you can also give more than 255 characters when you are using varchar, but that's the best what I can say, like it's a best practice to use less than 255 or less than or equals to 255 in order to avoid this limit in that particular SQL when you are creating a table. You can also give more and it will allow until 65,000 characters. Okay. Did you understand why we are giving only until 255? It's a best practice. You can also give more, but it's not needed. If you have given more also, your storage will be increasing. I mean, your particular disk storage will be like suppose if it is 1 GB and if you are inserting 10 millions of data with the characters more than 255, you cannot insert more and more data over there. So to limit future storage problems, right, we will be limiting any particular varchar value to 255 only. But yes, you can use more than 255 also. It is acceptable for the varchar. You have a limit, I think it's 65,535, and you can use it.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. So in the same way, we have another constraint called unique. So this unique constraint, why we will be using this? all columns in the DB should be different.
మేడం యూనిక్ కి ప్రైమరీ కీకి డిఫరెన్స్ ఏంటి మేడం?
So primary key means I'll be coming to that next point. So both unique and primary key will provide some uniqueness to the columns, but what we can say like unique key, we can have many unique keys in the table, but we should have only one primary key in the table, but rest all are same. Understood? So unique means unique and primary key is like both will give the unique constraint only, like that particular value should be different with any other data in that particular column, but unique keys can be defined as many keys in, I mean many columns in the table can be defined as a unique key, but primary key should be only one particular column in a table. That's the only difference between both.
Okay madam, understood.
Yep. I'll mention here both the unique and primary key provides but the only difference is and also if you are defining a table as I mean column as primary key, that means that particular data will have unique, you can say like that particular data is unique, you can say that. We can mandatorily say, I mean we can confidently say that if you are defining a column as primary key, that particular primary key data or that particular column we can say like unique data. So we will see like how you can create a unique one by using create table statement. So I'll just drop this employee table. Create table employee. So employee ID I'll define as unique. I'll also define unique ID as department. So I have given on multiple columns, right? Unique. I'll remove this department ID not null. Let's see. Okay, I need to give an open bracket. See, it got completed successfully. Select star from employee. Okay, so I'll insert some data. We'll see whether it will allow or not. So I'm giving the data in this way. Okay. So select, okay, employee ID. I'll give everything now. We'll see. Okay, one row got affected. Now I want to tell you the unique functionality. What is you mean by unique? So the thing is, I have given employee ID as unique and department ID as unique. Okay. So this particular department ID and employee ID should not be duplicated when you have given unique. So let's see if you are giving unique, what will happen when I want to insert the same data again. When I want to insert the same data again, I'll just do the tweaks over here. So I wanted to insert, I'm saying that employee name is not unique, salary is not unique. Let the employee name and salary can be the same. And also just to check the uniqueness, whether it will not allow any other duplicate values, we'll give the same data and we'll try to insert it. See here, it is saying violation of unique key constraint, cannot insert duplicate key in object. The duplicate key value is 1. So it is saying that our season, this table contains some unique key constraints and we cannot allow the duplicates. Let's see, employee ID I'll give as 109 so that it will not be duplicated, and department ID I'll give same, and again I should get the same error. See, I got an error. That means unique key columns cannot be same. So I'll give some number like 2 and rest. If you observe employee name and salary, I'm keeping as it is. It will allow. See, one row got affected. Why? Because I didn't give employee name and salary as unique key. It will allow the duplicate values, but when you are defining some column as unique keys, it should not allow any duplicates. So we will also try whether alter statement works now or not. Alter table. Employee and constraint. So this constraint is unique here. Unique. I want to add unique for employee name. Okay. So why it's not allowing? Because I have a duplicate data over here. That's why it's not allowing me to add it. So let's see. I'll just delete that particular data and let's see. So what I'll do, I'll just update it. Update employee table. Set employee name equals to, I will say that SQL employee 2. Okay, and I'll also change the salary. Let's see. No need, but just 20,000 to this 20,000. I'll give the waiver employee ID equals to 109. For the second set, I'm just trying to give some unique values so that I won't get any issues now. I'll just say do select staff from employee. See, now all the data is unique, right? So now I'll try to you add this unique column into, unique constraint into employee name. It is success now. Okay. Then I'll try to see. Then now I'll try to add the duplicate value for employee name. Okay. I'll change this to 30,000. I'll change this to 110. And now I'll give this department ID as 3, but employee name I'm trying to get whether it's duplicate or not. Now I have defined it as unique. It should not allow any duplicate values. So let's see whether I'm able to insert any duplicate value into employee name. See, it is not allowing. Why? Because we have given that particular data as unique. That's why. Now I'll give this say SQL employee 3, it will allow. See, it's allowing. So in the same way, earlier we have done this now. Let's see whether it's allowing now or not. Mhm. Don't know why this particular statement is not allowing. Usually we will be doing that only. Okay, let's okay, we have seen about this unique and not null constraints today. And yes, evening I'll be completing all the remaining topics. Like we have some important constraints like primary key and all, check index and all. We can do that. And after that, we have some. We can see like how the table is can be created with primary keys and all, and also we have left out with any all operator yesterday and also case statements. If we cover all this, I think that should be fine for you all. And also I'll be asking some questions to you people if we have time today, or we can have another class to uh, have some interaction on like how much understanding you had on SQL till now. Okay. Any doubts?